After weeks of military buildup, Israel and the U.S. have attacked Iran. Missiles struck the capital Tehran and other targets across the country.
The United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated.
The joint U.S.-Israeli attack took place just as Tehran and Washington had wrapped up indirect talks on Iran's nuclear program in Geneva. President Trump said he wasn't happy with Iran's negotiating position. At the heart of the talks was enriched uranium. Iran wants enough for civilian, not military purposes, and had been insisting a diplomatic solution was possible. The U.S. and Israel want zero enrichment and had repeatedly threatened military action to try to force a deal. They've also been demanding an end to Iran's ballistic missile arsenal. Both Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister are now calling for the toppling of the Iranian government.
The objective of the operation is to put an end to the threat of the Ayatollah regime in Iran. At this time, the IDF is attacking targets of the oppressive regime, facilities of the Revolutionary Guard, along with the United States military, targeting ballistic missile sites that threaten both Israel and U.S. forces. This operation will continue as long as necessary.
Iranian officials say both the president and the supreme leader were safe from the initial attacks, and the country's National Security Council is promising a, quote, crushing response. It's retaliated by launching waves of missiles at Israel and U.S. assets across the region. Qatar, Jordan, Kuwait, and the UAE all said they intercepted missiles on Saturday, while a U.S. Navy headquarters was hit in Bahrain. Iranian allied groups in Yemen and Iraq have announced potential attacks on U.S. bases as well as key shipping routes. The offensive by the U.S. and Israel has sent tensions soaring far beyond Iran, with many of the world's energy supply routes and global markets.
Of the US Middle East project and a former Israeli negotiator. He joins us from London. And Miran Kamrava is Professor of Government at Georgetown University in Qatar. He joins us from here in Doha.
Well, indeed, as you point out, James, this is the second time in 8 months that there has been Israeli and American strikes against Iran. Let's be clear what that is. 2 nuclear-armed states attacking a state that does not have a nuclear weapon on a pretense. And the pretense is least credible when the American president claims and the Israeli prime minister claim that there was some kind of need for a preemptive strike. The president has said they just had to say they wouldn't get a nuclear weapon. That's the easiest thing for Iran to declare because it's declared it many times before. And President Trump has said, take over your government. The Israeli prime minister has said, look to the sky, help is here. When the school children in southern Iran looked to the sky, the help was what killed them. So it wasn't help there, not the interest of the parties who have launched this strike.
Miran,
now pause.
Sorry,
continue,
David. Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry.
Go on.
Daniel. So the question is, can America not only claim that it's going to launch a sustained attack, but can it actually see that through? What is the Iranian response capacity? Is America willing to be in this for the longer haul? It seems that the diplomacy was never serious, that it was a ruse. Israel has wanted to drag America into this war. We see that America is absolutely there for Israel, is pursuing Israeli, not American interests. How long does it take for this to play out in American domestic politics in ways that become problematic for the president? How long does it take for the region to say, we've had enough? And how long does it take for the American president to say, okay, I'm going to declare victory, whatever happens? A lot of that will depend on whether Iran can sustain a response capacity. And that's where we're going to see things develop in the coming days and weeks, perhaps.
Miran, this was done.
He obviously has not, but really not certain if that matters, given the political context in the United States today. If you remember, James, we used to call Ronald Reagan the Teflon president. Nothing used to stick to him. But it appears as if it's Donald Trump who's the real Teflon president. As Daniel just mentioned, neither Netanyahu nor Trump have come up with a compelling reason for attacking Iran, but we don't see any voices of dissent from inside the United States, from the American people, from the Congress, nor for that matter from the European Union. Look at the statements coming out of European capitals. Once again, Iran is being beaten up by two nuclear powers, as Daniel mentioned, but it's being condemned for being beaten up. And so it doesn't appear as if Donald Trump is going to face the serious backlash that we would have expected him to face in a situation like this.
And Daniel, I mean, if you look at previous wars, big wars that presidents have prepared the American people for, like invaded Kuwait, those had huge periods of persuading the American people on Capitol Hill, the court of public opinion. None of that has happened this time, has it?
Well, indeed, the case is so very flimsy. And here is where I might disagree a little with Mehran on that Teflon president moniker. The president's approval ratings are really bad. The prospects for the GOP, the president's Republican Party, in the midterm elections do not look good. They did not do well when they've been put to the test thus far. Affordability, making America great again, is what those who voted for President Trump thought they were doing. He pitched himself as the anti-war president. He established the Board of Peace. This is the Board of Peace's first war. Doesn't look very good. So he is not addressing, I would argue, the things that American people want him to address. Now, it may be true that the congressional opposition is weak, but let's look at his polling numbers. Let's look at them today, the initial reaction. Let's look at them in a few days. Is America going to take hits? We already know, James, that Israel is a controversial issue inside America, inside MAGA. Support for Israel is at a low ebb, historically speaking. You can be sure that as the hours and days go on, much of that MAGA base who were dead against this, were against it in June when it happened, were against the cover that America has been running for Israel to do the genocide in Gaza, are going to say, Mr. President, why are you putting American lives and lucre at the disposal of a supposed ally in the region who we seem to run cover for time and time again, who are totally dependent on us as a protectorate? When did this happen? This happened when the USS General Ford battleship arrived off the coast of Israel, because the Israelis needed that cover first. So there's a question mark to me, especially if this becomes attrition, if this takes time, if America takes hits. There's a question mark, I think, that hovers over how long the president will actually be willing to sustain this, especially in a war where it's very hard to make the case that there is an American national security interest. Most of what the president addressed, and he wore a baseball cap, to speak to your point, James, of the seriousness of the moment and comparing this with past statements. I think he may still have thought that he was talking about hockey matches in the Winter Olympics. He wore a baseball cap when he made this announcement. Is there an American national interest at stake? I don't think so. You can make the argument why Israel wants to be able to dominate the region, continue its eradicationist policies against the Palestinians, take away further balance of deterrence with Iran. You can understand why Israel is saying, if we get this, then the entire region will bend the knee, will kiss the ring, and they will understand that they cannot challenge us. That I get. I don't get what's in it for America.
Mehran, Daniel makes the point that he might have problems with his own base. There is an isolationist part of his base.